All right, here we are. We are live on Memorial Day weekend. HypnoTalk. I'm Troy Parkins here with
Janna, your friendly hypnotherapist.
friendly. And I am so happy because my flower that I just picked matches your beautiful blouse. I love it.
Hold that flower up for everybody to see and spin it around. Because
Look
at
at this
first I
guy,
thought
right?
it was a bunch of roses, and it's a beautiful geranium that Troy has had growing in his yard and has kept alive for like 10 years.
I know. Isn't
I'm
that
impressed.
crazy?
I'm just very impressed with that
I
flower.
have a green thumb. I guess a green thumb.
What do you do to it? Do you fertilize it? Do you
Mhm.
yeah?
Yes.
What kind of fertilizer
Fertilize
do
in the
you use? I know
spring.
that's off topic, but I gotta know.
So I like natural kind of fertilizers, right? So you just go into like, well, back in the day, they used to have Orchard Supply here. I don't know where it went these days.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, they sold like a potassium nitrate natural fertilizer. And you just sprinkle it a little bit in the beginning of spring, water it. It's like Stardew Valley. And then next thing you know, boop, flowers. Just like that.
This is beautiful.
Thank you. I appreciate
Yes.
that. And it is the beginning. Well, I guess they say, right? Memorial Day weekend is the beginning of summer, well, so to speak. So I'm wearing my white
Yes.
and I'm ready to have a COVID-free, go all out, 2 feet in, maniac on a mission summer. That's
Awesome.
what I am intending and
Woo!
sourcing, and that I said it. I declared it.
Yay.
Okay. So enough about me. How about you? How has your week been, Janna?
My week has been great. Again, I've been out gardening, and I can honestly tell you that there is not one flower in my yard that is doing anywhere near as well as yours. Because, of course, with me, I have to compare everything.
Oh, okay.
I need somebody to hypnotize that on my head. But been doing some gardening, been doing some swimming, been seeing clients and hanging out with the kids. You know, the extra perk of COVID has been that I've had my youngest two home with me, and they're getting ready to move out again over the next couple of months. So we're just really having lots of fun. We celebrated my daughter's birthday last night. And
Oh, well,
yeah,
happy birthday to her. That's
yeah,
great. That's awesome.
yeah.
Amazing.
She's a sweetheart.
So it sounds like you've been happy. You've been very happy this past week.
Very happy indeed. Yes.
Speaking of happy and happiness, I get this a lot. People wonder about this question right here, right in the ticker. What does it mean to be happy? Now, in our world of transformation, what Buddha says XYZ, other philosophers say something, Dr. Joe Dispenza says something, people write books on happiness, some people are happiness coaches. What does it mean to you to be happy?
For me personally, that's a hell of a question. I think there are major philosophers that have spent
Loaded, right? Loaded question.
lifetimes on questions like that. And you're asking little me right off the cuff. But the
No,
first thing that's
amazing you. Amazing
amazing me,
big
yes.
brain, Janna, your friendly hypnotherapist.
The very first thing that snapped to mind was an image of my cousin's baby. And we haven't had a baby in our family in a really long time. And this little guy just popped into being not long ago. And I got to meet him several weeks ago for the first time. And you've never seen happiness until you've looked at a baby. So, other than when a baby is hungry or in pain or cold or something, the natural state is happy. So I remember that too. you know, you see kids on playgrounds, or if you're lucky to have a really long memory like I do, I can remember babyhood very vividly. I remember happy, and you can watch little kids and they'll be happy playing with a box. You know, they'll be happy looking at a bug. They'll just be ecstatically happy. So I think that happiness is the natural state that we all are born into. And it's only when we get a little too wrapped up in our minds into the realm of thought that we start to pull away from that natural state. And one thing you notice about a baby, they're not thinking about anything. They're not distracted in their into their head. I mean, if they're watching a dog and a cat walks by, they may get distracted by the cat, but they're in real time. They're in the now. They're in the present moment. And they're always in the present moment. Most babies don't have language yet. So they're not going to be contemplating world peace in their head.
Or worried about their bills that they have to pay.
Exactly. They don't have worries, right? So when they're not thinking, they're fine. And then you might say to yourself, yeah, but what about bills, right? Like, what about, you're an adult, you can't be stress-free forever. But you can, because let's say that you can't pay your bills, but you're really good at meditation. And you can still have a crap financial situation on your hands. But if you can go meditate and you can get out of your head, your cork starts to flow. You know, and that natural state is happy. It's like the thinking pushes the cork down, and the moment we take the pressure away from thought, the cork floats. So to me, the key is to be able to balance our pragmatic, real life structured situations, but to be able to do it in the present moment so that we're in a higher, happier place, and we're just allowing things to occur, and we're allowing ourselves to do very binary. We're either moving our hand to write a check. I said write a check. You can tell I'm 100. Okay. Pay online with our fingertips. So we're either moving our little fingers on our banking screen to pay a bill. So we're either moving our fingers down or up. It's binary. We don't have to have a bunch of fearful thoughts about it. We just handle things without the stressors of worry, with all the what ifs and the yeah buts. It's the what I like to call, and I didn't come up with this, but what I like to call the what ifs and the yeah buts are the enemy, so to speak. It's getting too caught up in the what ifs and the yeah buts.
Yeah buts will prevent us from doing stuff. I would love to do that, yeah, but I don't have the money, or I'm too scared. And then the what ifs also stand in our way, because we're going to make up some story, and it's likely going to be a negative story. I haven't heard anyone ever say, I should move to Alaska. But what if it's awesome and I love it so much? No one says that.
No, they're like, what if it doesn't work out? And what if I can't make ends meet there? And what if I get lonely? And what if,
What if a bear comes into my cabin and kills me?
Yeah.
See, fear context.
You would be absolutely amazed at how many people I see on a regular basis who are so scared of making any type of forward movement. But it's nothing against people being scared. It's part of our survival mechanism. And I think just knowing that, oh, I'm scared, it doesn't mean there's something wrong with me. It means that there's something right with me. It means that my survival mechanism as an animal My animalistic instinct of stick with my tribe, don't make any changes, don't take any risks, don't go out there and get hurt by a predator. Those instincts are really healthy in me. And then I don't have to put so much credibility and credence into my worries. I can just go, oh, that's just my survival instinct. Alaska's going to be great.
And I love what you said. You said happiness is the natural state we were born into.
Yeah.
Now, that being said, where does this other, these voices in the head that talk about survival, where does all that come from? And I get the just stop and don't listen to them. But what can we really do, Janna, to silence those voices and really come back to our natural state? You did mention meditation, but what else?
One thing is it empowering? You might want to write down when we think we can go off in our head on these wild tangents. At least I know I can. So maybe you write down what that one chronic thought is and go, is that empowering? In other words, does that serve me? Does that help me? Is that voice in my head for me or against me? Does it have faith in my ability, or is it the voice of fear? So that can be a little bit of a clue to know, oh, it could be just a habitual thought. And how many times have I had that same thought before, or a variation of it? Not just in this particular situation, but 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, I may have had a different situation, but that same fear was there. Different cast of characters, different stack of bills, different opportunity that I was scared of taking. Sometimes it is helpful in a practice like mine to talk about that. I don't like to hang out in the past a lot, but it can be really empowering to notice, oh, I made that up when I was 9. That was the time that this thing happened. And oh, that's where I started to come up with that strategy for how to survive. It's usually a smart thing to do at 9, but it doesn't work when you're 40 or 60, you know? So noticing where it comes from can be helpful. But I don't think that dwelling on the past is particularly helpful. And then being empowered always means we want to take the reins of control back from our parents, our past lovers, anyone else who has wronged us, people who have traumatized us. You know, it's really weird in a terrible way. How many people have been sexually abused? So if you were a fly on the wall in my office, it's staggering how many people out there have had some sort of really bad trauma. It could be that, or it could be some other kind of trauma. But we want to start to take the reins of control back from those people in those times and not make up a story in our head that we can no longer feel safe or comfortable because that person did something to us or that person took something away from us. They can't take our happiness away because it's our natural state that we're born into. All they can do is trigger our survival instinct so that we make up a belief that we're not safe so we will start to hold back in life and we won't go for that relationship or go for that new job or move to that new state because we're busy surviving. But that person didn't take anything away from you. You added onto your natural state of happy. You added a belief that was designed with good intentions. It was designed to protect you and keep you safe. But fear doesn't keep you safe. Love keeps you safe.
Ah, the L word. So, okay, we talked about happiness, about getting back to the natural state. And you talked about a few techniques and tips. Now you brought up the L word. So, you know, Buddha has his philosophies and his theories. So I'm going to point that one out. I want to hear where you're going with that, with the L word. And what does this love look like? Is it love for others? Is it love for community? Is it love for oneself? What is this love?
Yes, 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 and yes. So if you're in a state of experiencing a feeling of love, of course, we all love being loved. Duh. We like it when the love comes in at us. We're like, ooh, they love me. I'm happy now. And that's great. But take a moment and notice when you're doing the loving, it feels the same. The experience is identical, whether it's coming from you outward towards somebody else, or if it's coming from them into you, it feels the same. So when people are feeling lonely or isolated or unloved, go hug your dog. Give to that being, give to that. So that's one way. So it's, yes, it's also, it's looking at yourself as though you're the most precious jewel in the universe. And one that I had a rule of thumb years ago that was really helpful for this. When I was in a tricky life situation, I would imagine that if there was a being that loved me unconditionally and had my best interests at heart, and I was the most precious thing in the world to that being, what would they want for me? Would they want me to sit in my room with the covers over my head, fearful, feeling inadequate? Or would they want me to get out there and take that risk and live my life? And if that unconditionally loving being, obviously that's a tee up to, of course, they'd want me to get out there and live my life. When I failed or stumbled and fell or didn't make the mark I had set for myself, would that being criticize me? Or would they say, I'm so proud of you for going for it. Get up, you can do it. I have faith in you. So some of it is getting the inner self-talk in the head to go back to that as though we are the voice of unconditional love and trust and care. And so that's going to help make a lot of decisions. In hypnosis, we do that a lot with guide work. And it helps people get really clear on what the loving choice is, how to think about things, how to be. And an inner guide worth their wings would never, ever, ever say, you don't have any confidence. You don't have any self-esteem. You don't have what it takes. You're not lovable. You're messed up. You're damaged. No, those are all beliefs that we've accumulated to protect ourselves against really bad things ever happening again. Or there are worries or fears that we've decided might be true. And we start acting as though they are true. And so being happy is about getting rid of and discarding. It's like an animal. Some animals shed their skin as they grow. And we want to shed those old beliefs that don't serve us anymore, because at the core of it, we're like my cousin's little baby. We're just happy. That's still in there. That hasn't changed. Nobody can take that spark away, but we can cover it up and dull it. So
It's so very interesting. I put this on the ticker. Is true happiness internal or external? I'm hearing it's both. And not externally, what you're saying, it's not having somebody justify, or I guess not justify, but not having somebody reinforce, reassure. Yeah. I don't know. You're saying that we all are inside.
Yeah.
There. Perfect already. Now, you mentioned this. If you're feeling yucky, we got to clear all that out. Yeah. Great way to do it is externally. Go hug your dog. I love that, because I say this a lot to people that I'm coaching. Focusing out will get you out of your own doldrums. So if the Dementors are circling around you, see, note, Harry Potter reference for our millennial friends out there.
Yes.
If the Dementors are circling around you, focus out, hug your dog, buy a stranger coffee at Starbucks, give somebody
Eat
a
chocolate.
compliment,
Chocolate helps too. If you're
and
trying to ward
share
off a
chocolate
Dementor
with a
attack.
friend. Go
Yeah.
watch a monster Godzilla marathon. Just like do something to focus out. Have like, and I believe I make up that supports me at least in getting back into the being the maniac on a mission that I am.
You want to be happy no matter what's going on around you. In other words, we all go through these chapters in our lives, and sometimes there's abundance, and sometimes there's not. And sometimes there's people we love with us, and then there's chapters where some of those people pass away. Like right now, I'm enjoying a renaissance of my two youngest. All four of my kids are adults, but my two youngest are home with me. And then there's going to come a time in a couple of months where, they're moving out again. And
Yeah.
there's chapters of when I've got a full house, and there's chapters when I got an empty nest. And so, yes, there's emotions that come with that, but there can be happiness that's really rooted in the present moment of really appreciating exactly where you are right now. And most unhappiness is thinking that it should be different. I remember when my third child went to college, and I cried on the plane all the way home, and I came home and cried, and I was so sad that he was gone. He went to college in Vancouver.
Mm.
And then I noticed that there were fewer wet towels on the bathroom floor. Uh-oh, where did Troy go? I've lost Troy. He's gone. Anyway, there were fewer wet towels on the bathroom floor. And then the grocery bill went down, and then the house was quiet, and I had time to do things for myself. You're back. You went away
I
for a
don't know what
minute.
happened. I think I got caught in the ether, but I'm back.
Oh. So, no, I was just saying, after a while, when Spen was gone, I realized there was I was crying, and then I realized that the grocery bill was less and there wasn't as much housework to do. And I realized I could be happy now. I could go do some gardening. I could go do other stuff. I had control of the remote, you guys. I mean, things like that, like
That's a big one.
it was huge. Not like I didn't miss him, but we might have a few bad days when we're going through a transition of change, but basically there's always a silver lining, and we can start to just shift gears and staying present and not expecting things to stay the same. If you look over your life, you could chop it up into chapters. There was the chapter of your childhood like this, and then there was the chapter of your childhood like that, and then there was the chapter of high school, and then there was the chapter where you lived with this person, and then there was the chapter where you were doing that. And all of them feel perpetual and forever when you're in the chapter, but no chapter is forever. It's like we have multiple timelines in our own lifetime, and we want to just squeeze out every bit of value and presence, and we want to be there. We don't want to be in our heads thinking and missing it.
And remember, in all those different situations, there's generally one person that's going to be involved in all of those scenarios. And we all know who that is.
You. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. That's well said. I like that. That is what rings the bell for me is you get to be happy regardless of circumstances, regardless of what's going on in the world, regardless of what's quote unquote happening to you, regardless of who's in your life, regardless of how the weather is.
I had a thought today that came through so strongly. Back in my spiritual days, I would have sworn it was the spirit of a friend of mine who passed away. And when I looked down at my phone, it had accidentally gone to Facebook Messenger, and he died, I don't know, several years ago. And it was a Facebook message from him, and it said, "Happy Memorial Day." And it went on and on. And those sorts of coincidences come a lot. But the reason that he's significant to this conversation is I decided to just look through our texts, and they were during a time of my life where I was going through my second divorce, and I was the most scared I've ever been. I would have said that that was the worst chapter of my life. But that friendship, it was someone I used to work with, and he really had my back, you know. He was an ally when I didn't have many allies. At least I didn't think I did. And I read some of our texts, and I was laughing out loud and I was remembering that special relationship, and so grateful. I had so many tears over how, in hindsight, looking back all these many years later, it was almost worth what I went through. That thing that seemed small and insignificant, that one friend, it was tremendous. And of course, you don't realize that until they die. But you could realize it while they're still alive. So that's
I love
where
that.
it was nice to Memorial Day. I was remembering him. And then I was remembering to appreciate you and this time and this chapter that we have sitting here doing HypnoTalk. And
This is
anyone,
great. I love
yeah,
HypnoTalk.
yeah. And really, it's so easy to get caught up and take the present moment for granted. But happiness, you know, I mean, Troy, you and I have become good friends, and it's just so special to me, and it means so much. There's very few people in the world that we just click with and naturally gravitate toward. And I love that. And so it's nice to just take the people that are in your life in this chapter and put the blinders on and focus on the present, and who are the people that are in your lives now that you can really stop and go, wow, I'm excited to be with this person. It's so easy to gloss it over because everything's fine between you and that person. It's no biggie. And we can get caught up in the problems and want to just let that's not what matters at the end of the day.
That is well said. And by the way, yes, I look forward to these all the time. And now we're on Clubhouse, and we had a great inaugural show on Tuesday of last week where we had 6 or 7 people there. It was fabulous. We went over an hour, almost an hour and a half. And yes, I look forward to this all the time. And we did talk about presence in the last Hypno Talk. And that is, for me, that's all that makes me happy. I wake up every morning. I get to focus on what's going to happen today. For example, I've been watching monster movie marathons with my favorite little guy in the world. And we've been eating popcorn, candy, movie theater stuff, Hawaiian punch, all sorts of good things, nachos. And I love it. It's my favorite thing. Like, I'm having so much fun. It's so exciting. And then we took a break between Godzilla and we're going to watch Kong next. We took a break and I got to do Hypno Talk with you, talking about happiness. I'm super happy. And look, I hear everything you're saying. And you know what? This is kind of we're teeing this up for our Clubhouse room, which is coming up on Tuesday, which I loaded up here, right? Because we will field, well, you, my friendly hypnotherapist, will field questions from people about, and we're going to keep talking about this topic right here, which is happiness. It could be happiness in a relationship. It could be happiness at your job. It could be just you being happy, period. Mm-hmm. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm excited for that. And I do love our time together.
Me too. Definitely. And it's nice to have others to come in and contribute and throw a question out or just bring up a topic for conversation so that we're not necessarily having to generalize quite so much. I noticed that because I'm in a training right now with Eckhart Tolle, becoming a teacher of presence. So that there's a lot of present moment stuff that's coming out of my mouth as a result of that training I'm doing. And one of the things that I've always wanted to do is, go, hey, Eckhart, yeah, okay, presence, but what about this? What about this? How does that apply here and here in my life? And when he's doing a big talk to thousands of people, he's got to keep it really general. But it's wonderful when we're doing the one-on-ones because he's able to really get into it with a person's actual life situation. And it seems so obvious when he coaches them. It's like, oh, okay. But until that moment of one-on-one coaching, I didn't get that. And now I got it because now it's applied. And it's nice to have these big, broad, general concepts like presence. And someone to say, well, yeah, but what about this?
Yeah.
What about my kid who's a drug addict? How's presence going to fix that asshole? I mean, they don't say asshole to him, but you know what I mean? We all do that. Yeah.
Yes. Well, and this is a great opportunity with our Clubhouse room. This is why Clubhouse is so intriguing. You could actually not just ask a question, like people can ask questions right here and they have before, or they're hitting me up on a back channel to ask you questions. But in Clubhouse, you can actually open a Discord, back and forth with you, Janna, and follow up with questions, have a great conversation. And, the way that you, and I've seen you masterfully do this, the way that you do talk to one person and specifically talk about their issues, it really does blend and work with other people that likely have maybe not the exact same problem, but something similar.
Yes. And if you're familiar with Esther Hicks, when she's doing her work, she will always talk to a group. And my daughter and I have been to see her channel live a couple of times. And there will be a room of hundreds of people. And she'll always say, hey, we may not get to you personally, but it's a law of attraction thing where whoever is going to come up and share, it's going to be your situation. So you might very well get your question answered through someone else's interaction and someone else's question. And that's something that is so true. I know that was true back in the LifeSpring days where someone would get up and share on mic and it would move the whole rest of the room.
Sure.
So other people, there's some value, not just for you if you have a question, but if you're on the fence and you're not sure you want to ask me, think of it this way. Think of the other people will benefit. Chances are if you're experiencing that, other people are experiencing that.
Yep, absolutely. So I look forward to that on Tuesday.
Yeah.
So wrapping this one up with a nice little bow, any final thoughts? I know we love to leave people with tips. How about this? Any final tips to our viewers out there of how they get to exercise, maybe getting out of their dementordom, where the dementors are circling around them?
Yeah.
Just like a little quick tip.
My tip is to, one of the things I hypnotize into people is that happiness is your natural state. And just, I would say, as a morning affirmation, there's a few minutes before you get out of bed. Don't grab your phone and past turning off your alarm. Don't grab your phone and look at your social media or emails yet. Before you do that, well, you're still in a dreamy, drowsy state. Just reinforce that happiness is already there. It's your natural state. Now, if you feel like shit, it means it's buried under a whole bunch of blankets of beliefs that need to be flung off. But that's a different mindset than going, I've got to go out there and find happiness, or what if I can't ever be happy again? Or it's not a seeking behavior. It's a discarding of what no longer serves us behavior. So knowing that happiness is under there, that's all you need to know. There's some comfort for me in knowing that. I can, well, I was going to say PMS, but you know, I'm a little old for that. But that used to be a thing of feeling like the bottom was going to fall out of my barrel and feeling like I was just an emotional wreck of depression and despair. Had I but known that happiness was under that, and it was whatever was going on for me was my investment in some belief system that things weren't always okay. So if I know that happiness is under there, and we remember that because when you were a baby, it didn't go anyplace. That spark that's not contingent upon anything else is still in there. Morning affirmation, it's under there. It's my natural state. And if you could get that and just decide to take that in, hook, line, and sinker, no questions asked, that would begin the shift.
Awesome. I love it. I wrote that down. I wrote that down. That is a really good one. The affirmation, morning affirmation, when you're in the drowsy state just before you wake up. Brilliant. That's some big knowledge right there.
It's a natural state of hypnosis.
I love it.
Yeah.
And then say, happiness is in my natural state. Repeat that over and over. Or maybe even say, I am the happy baby, because you know that is the whole thing, right? You are that happy baby. It's just get rid of the dementors.
Yeah. And the dementors are like our thoughts. They're just other energy fields. And just because an energy field exists doesn't mean you have to plug into it.
True that. Truth.
And feed it with your thoughts.
Truth. Right, because they get more and more powerful.
You want to feed the flowers in your garden. How do I, there. We're back.
Yeah. You point. Yeah, there it is.
Feed the flowers. We can feed the stuff that we want to grow and bloom. We don't want to feed the stuff that hurts us.
Spring has just happened. It's summertime now. Let's, feed what serves all of us. As always, a great half an hour here. I believe that there's a lot of tidbits, and there's a tee up that we will continue on our Clubhouse this Tuesday, 11 o'clock Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern. Join us here every Sunday at 5 p.m. Pacific time, 8 o'clock Eastern for HypnoTalk. And if you're not following Janna on Instagram, follow her. Link's going to be down below. Definitely watch her 2-minute Instagram TV videos. They're amazing. And I really love them. And what letter are you on right now? O or P?
O. I did O for overwhelm. So P, and there's so many P words. I'm going crazy trying to narrow it down.
I can't wait to hear what the next P word is going to be, or what the P word is going to be. Okay. Thank you again, Janna. Thank you out there for watching and tuning in, and we'll see you on Clubhouse. We're going to build that room up. I envision 50 to 100 people in there. We'll field questions, maybe 3 hours, Janna. We'll see. Everybody loves it.
Where I'm not scheduling much else on Tuesdays now around that time. So, yeah.
I think our intention is to go for about an hour, but if the room's hopping, which it was, we took it to an hour and a half. But our intention's about an hour. So definitely join us there. All right, Janna, I'm back to watching monster movies. So you have a beautiful rest of your day. I'm going to have a beautiful rest of my day with Godzilla and King Kong.
Oh, boy. So glad I'm not there with you, but I'm sure you boys will have just a roaring good time. So.
We will. All right, until next time, peace.
Peace.